Okay, in today's video we're having a look at the insides of a 502 rotator that I'm upgrading to a 507. This rotator was originally a 100 volt rotator. However, when I got a hold of it, the posts that hold the motor, there's two posts here and the same two posts on the opposite side. These two had been snapped off from someone doing the wrong thing and transporting it with only two screws holding it this side and not the other side, and the whole thing just broke when the motor got moved sideways. So basically I said, well, I'm not going to throw it away. I mean, the rest of the chassis, sub-chassis looks okay. So I physically put in this 8mm flat bar in here, and I've screwed it off with screws, 8 screws into there, all self-tappet, countersunk, and made entries for the for wiring there. And so basically that was repaired. So basically I then went about physically putting the DC motor, which has come from a Emotator 747, which is the next rotator up from the 502. And so basically a DC motor, 24 volt, as you can see. And then what I've done is made up mounting brackets for it there and there with again out of the 8mm again, which has been cut down and moved and shaved to fit around the actual motor here as well, and bolted off, and the whole thing is allowed to slide for adjustment onto the drive gear, so I can actually make an adjustment, but it's quite a tight fit, so it makes it really easy. And so I'm not going to get any rotation backlash or anything on this, because it can't really go anywhere now because it's just physically locked in place. So basically, yeah, it's all screwed off, ready to go. I've actually probably can't see it that well, but I've pinned the shafts, because the shafts in these spin and they actually wear the aluminium, so they're actually pinned and locked into place. I've also, being a DC motor, you need to gear them down more. So basically this gear here, the number 1 gear, is the gear from a 1103 or 1102 and 1103. So the first drive gear on those ones are actually slowed right down. So if you look at the original one, this is the original gear that comes for the 502. As you can see, it's got 502 written on it even as well. So basically, you can see the pinion in the middle is a lot bigger than the pinion on that one there. So that's been replaced with this gear. So then the next gear up from that, if I just sit this down, so basically the next gear up from that, which is the number 2 gear, which is this gear here, and if you look at this gear compared to the next gear, which is the 502 on my right hand side, so it's the 502, and this is the 1102 or 1103s. So you can see the pinion in the middle is very small again. Again, when you look at the actual gear size, the gear size on the outside, the big gear is actually bigger on this one as well, being the fact we've got more reduction. So basically, I'll put this on there just to show you how it all works. So you can see this goes onto there. So that's there. And then we basically then have the next gear up, which is a big in the center gear. This is to get it back to the same gear pitch as the rest of the gearing. So again, it's big on the outside, big gear on the outside to get back to this small gear here. Different gear module, it's MODUA module is the thing, so it's a different gear module, so it's different size of gear module. So basically that one's on there. Then we go back to our standard gearing, which is the standard ratio size. This one here is double the height, so he goes on and locks back into there. As you see, he locks into that. And when you notice down in here now, the tines that I actually put in there before, which I probably should have told you about before, they keep the weight of this gear, of the gears above this, off the first drive gear to allow it to spin freely without any major load on it. So basically, yeah, so that goes onto there. We'll turn it back around, and then basically a spacer goes in there normally, but I haven't got that with me at the present moment. So basically then we put the next gear in line on, which is reduction gearing, and then it steps up in the module gear, or the gear ratio, gear size again. Put a standoff in there to unpack it, so it actually makes it sit flat, and then that one goes onto there. So that's how it basically goes. And then we have a plate which goes on top. I'll get around the right way, we'll be right to go. So he sits in there like this, and that locks everything down. So we won't go into that at the present moment. So we'll just pull these back off again before we lose a whole lot on the ground when I turn this over to explain more of what's been going on. I'll take them all off this time, including this one. So basically you'll see the tines here. I normally only have one tine on these, but I decided to put two on this because the gear was actually sitting a bit sideways, so I've done that. Now as you look down into here, we see this is the BK brake assembly. So this is the BK spring and housing in there, so it only can move backwards and forwards a little bit, and then it actually locks off because it's a brake, and then when the motor kicks and guts, it spins and spins free. So yeah, so I put two tines in here and use one of the screws from the mounting there to hold this whole thing in place. So it's just keeping the weight off those other gears. I'll take that off there as well. So when you look at the actual DC motor, it is a lot smaller, but they rev a lot harder. So yeah, it's so basically there's been a few upgrades to this one. So we'll just put that aside for now. So on the actual housing side, what I've done is I've got the original housing. This is the 502 housing, and I'm replacing the normal 6-pin box style cinch plug that comes out through the hole here, which is sort of screwed on. You use another female one to a socket to actually slip onto it, and then the cable's got to go out to the side. This is the actual genuine housing. This is a brand new one from new old stock. So basically that will be going in. So basically this is a new one. This is a replacement. This is a screw terminal block from a 102. So basically a 105, I should say, a 105. So basically I've just done some minor mods on it just to bring the tines in a little bit. These are push-on terminals, so I've got some terminals to go on here. So basically that goes into there, and we have some M3 screws which will screw onto those 2 points. I'll stop moving around too much. I'll screw into there, and you can see the other holes sitting down in here. They were where the screws that hold this on go into. So basically it'll just go like that, and then it'll just screw off. So then the wiring will come down both sides and it'll go sideways and come out through the hole on the side of the actual socket. And it actually has a rubber boot on it and a clamp, so these are all new stuff. So basically, yeah, so that's what I've done to that. So that means I can actually have screw terminal on that one and use fork terminals on it, or just put them underneath, yeah, it's makes it a bit easier for people to terminate it instead of terminating a plug. I have done other ones where I put a plate in there which has a plug on it. So also I have physically changed the potentiometer from a 600 ohm to a 500 ohm. So it's wired up, ready to go. I've got more to do on that. And also what I've done is I've already replaced all the limit switches, and I've also put the diodes in for being a DC motor to switch between the limit at the end stops. So basically that's ready to go. So I haven't got much to do now. I just got to physically get a few more things together, and then proceed to assemble the whole thing, and I'll put another video out when it's a bit more assembled, and we'll go from there. So that's it for now for this particular video, and we shall catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Catch you. Bye.